Hi everybody. Today, this Emotiva ET-3, I'm going to try to describe this a little bit and why this is such a special device. As you can see, it's really small. It has this switch in the back, and essentially what this does is when the switch is pushed in, it acts as a 12-volt trigger splitter, essentially. So you can have one in and then three outs. Pretty common. There's a few devices I think that do that, but what this device does that's very special is that when it's in the on position, not remote, so that means the switch is out. This, when it is fed a 12-volt signal, just so you have this plugged into a remote-controlled outlet, or in my case, my Marantz receiver has switched 12-volt out, just like a normal power plug on the back of this, like all the old receivers used to have, you know? So when I hit on this, that 12-volt power supply on the back turns on. It looks just like this. It's just a typical outlet on the back of the Marantz. So when I hit the on button here, that power supply turns on. However, I don't really want to plug in my Emotiva power amplifier into the back of the Marantz, and that's where this thing comes in handy. So I can essentially turn it to the on position and plug in just the 12-volt in, and when I do that, and I do a 12-volt trigger out in the 1, 2, or 3 position, it sends a trigger to my Emotiva or whatever 12-volt trigger device you have, and it'll turn on. And what the manual and the website doesn't also say is that it'll also turn off, which is really convenient. So I'm going to set all this up. Sorry, this thing is not focusing. Okay, I'm going to set all this up, and then I'll show you what's going on. But to be clear, this has a 12-volt trigger in the Emotiva, but my Marantz doesn't have a 12-volt trigger out. So that's that's how you can kind of work around using this device. And like I said, you can plug this into a remote-controlled power strip. You could like set it by your desk or whatever, and every time you want a 12-volt trigger, you can plug it into the wall. It's a really versatile product, but I'll show you a really slick design using the 12-volt out on this, well, the 12-volt power plug on this, and how it can work with the Emotiva. So now with everything powered off, even the Emotiva ET-3, but as you can tell, it just has a 12-volt trigger cable, which is just a mono audio cable going from the out of itself, and the 12-volt power supply is just plugged into my Marantz. And remember, when I turn on my Marantz, that plug on the back is a switched outlet and it turns on. And so that 12-volt trigger is then taken into here, spits it out through there, and turns on the Emotiva. So when I hit power on, all those blinding LEDs come on, and the Emotiva turns on. And that's it. It's like, it's the, you know, the greatest, simplest solution. If you want to make a product, make it as simple as possible, and that's what Emotiva did here. So that thing is just completely awesome. So I have a remote for this Marantz too, so I can just come into the room, turn it on, and the Emotiva turns on. So, and this is plugged into a completely independent outlet on a completely different breaker. This is than the Marantz is, and the Emotiva just plugged right into the back of here. So this is a really versatile product. I mean, I have an old NAD amplifier that's probably like 10 years older than this, but it still has a switched output on the back. So you could just plug in the Emotiva into there and plug it into a power amp, and when you turn it on, it turns on your power amp. It's awesome. It's just a really great product. So, and I didn't see many videos about this, and I'll show it operating with the off as well. So when I turn it off, it sends another trigger, and there it goes. It turns right off. All right, guys. If you have any questions about this, let me know, and thank you for watching. Appreciate it.